Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to No Time for Movies, where we aspire to be the greatest movie podcast online. Today we'll be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, Batman, Robert Pattinson glimpse, the Green Knight trailer, Aladdin 2, Rick Moranis coming back from retirement, the French Dispatch trailer, Emilio Estevez coming back for Mighty Ducks, first sneak peek for Stranger Things Season 4. Today we also have special guest, Sean Phillips, where you can find him on Instagram, their math teacher movies, all that and much more. Start with the Sonic Hedgehog story, where it broke 60 million. Have you first of all, have you watched the Sonic movie?
I have just watched it. Yeah, I watched it on. I believe I watched it Friday during the day, and absolutely loved it.
Really?
I'm very surprised because it is a kids movie, and it's unapologetically so.
Right.
And I'm not terribly surprised by the $60 million opening because I look at this as when I was going to the movie theater to see something else, I saw a kid just dart out of the theater and just slide into a bench, and he was just like, "I'm Sonic, I'm Sonic." And so I think this is there's a magic to this that the kids are absolutely loving it, and I think that the parents are talk to each other as well, and they sort of are I think they're saying that, hey, this is a kids movie, but it's somewhat entertaining. I mean, Jim Carrey brings back 90s Jim Carrey, and so a lot of these parents are just like happy to see this again, the Jim Carrey acting weird, which he absolutely has a ball with this role.
Right, it's interesting because I would figure that it's kind of too old for this generation of kids. But I'm not really sure if there's been more video games actually recently out of Sonic, and then as well, I know Jim Carrey was a big star in it, but I had heard horrible reviews about it. So, but I've been looking that people have enjoyed it, so I haven't watched it yet. So,
well, the Rotten Tomatoes score was kind of surprising. It was around the 70%, which Rotten Tomatoes is it's not the end all be all. It shouldn't be considered that. Yeah, but it's always surprising when you see a movie that you expect to be terrible, and all of a sudden it has 70%, where it's like, oh, I think people liked this a little bit more than we thought, and so that's what had me curious to go see it. And it does have that line where the kids did not laugh at Jim Carrey at all. That was all the adults. I was laughing like I was Robert De Niro in Cape Fear at the Jim Carrey stuff. The kids were looking at me like I was nuts. And then but they just loved the actual animated creature, and that's a good point. I don't know if there's been another video game coming out on that. I don't think kids even play video games. I think they just watch other people play video games.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's just, I think that the actual character just seems so fun that they just started watching trailers of him, and they just jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, it has to be. I'm sure there is more video. Oh, actually, yeah, there is. I just looked it up. 2020 was the latest Sonic video game release. So I guess this is something for kids in this generation. I mean, I remember playing Sonic when I was a kid, but
what's interesting is they're opening up an entire Sega movie universe now, or it seems like that, because they had a Marvel-esque logo at the beginning where they're showing all the different video games, and then it just turns into the Sega logo. And I think they want to start a Sega movie universe now. So wow. I don't know how well that's going to go, but that is somewhat occurring.
You know what? I think I had read something about that, about them going with the whole Sonic universe or Sega universe. Yeah. I can't even think of all the characters though.
I can't think of it. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge video game guy.
Yeah.
I don't know much
I'm not
those.
anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be, but I can't keep up anymore. But I'm glad that people are enjoying it. I mean, one big thing I wanted to actually ask you was, because I remember asking myself this. All right, so we had the big thing with the whole Sonic design, right? They went back and redid it, all because of the fan outrage, I guess you could say. How much input do you think the fans should have into creativity of someone, of say a director, into a movie? Should it be that way? Should they have even gone back and redesigned this character?
this gets dicey for me because I think about the past couple of Star Wars movies where,
Right.
the decisions, the fans just hated decisions that certain characters made in The Last Jedi. And then so they decided to do complete fan service in the most recent Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And it just turned into a bit of a mess. And so I think that, having a fan input is great. I think what Sonic did was actually really good, where they decided, oh, we don't need a really gritty, realistic Sonic. Let's have him be an animated character. And I think that did help the movie because I'm thinking about some of the tender scenes with Sonic, and I'm like, oh god, if he had like a full head of teeth and just, like it would have looked very unsettling almost. And now it was just this cartoon character that you could show empathy for. So there's a fine line with fans getting involved and causing an outcry. I think it could be okay. I think in the end, these movies are being made for the fans.
Right.
Sometimes fans don't know what's good for them though. Like sometimes they don't realize, oh yeah, maybe for the sake of a plot, this character has to look a little bit different or go against their typical motivations. So it gets a little bit tough to really pin that down.
Yeah, I mean, the Star Wars universe is a perfect example. I think I'm glad you brought it up because yeah, there was a lot of fan service in the Rise of Skywalker. Man, it was a big mess, but I don't know. I remember when I read about this, I was like, oh man, they should just go on with it. I don't know. It just seemed like it would open the door to just fans kind of complaining about everything and wanting to change.
Yeah, now they realize now they have that power and they could get through it. On the other hand, I think it was great that they did change the Sonic design. When that whole controversy was going on, I said, guys, the problem's not going to be the design. The problem is going to be the movie's terrible. And now I'm eating my words on that. So
Yeah,
I don't know what.
you know what? I said the same thing. I was like, the design. What did the design matter? No one's gonna go watch this movie.
Exactly,
And now
exactly.
we're seeing the complete opposite. I was like, who's gonna go watch this movie? It's kind of outdated. It's a little too late to have a Sonic movie now, but I guess it's
That's what it
not. I
felt
mean,
like.
people are watching it and enjoying it. So
Yeah, and I mean, I was someone that never really watched or excuse me, I never like played the video game, but for some reason, I could think there was a Saturday morning cartoon that was Sonic, and so I would watch that every morning. So that's
yeah,
how I became sort of a Sonic fan.
yeah, there was. I remember that too. Oh man. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, 60 million opening. I mean, it's not a huge number, but I guess it's big for that movie because I'm not sure
It's
about the
it's
budget, but
unexpected without a doubt.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I know with the budget, I mean, they spent a lot changing the characters, but also there is a unbelievable amount of product placement to an annoying height. So that might have been how they paid off the.
Yeah, I mean, and then the whole changing the character, the animation and all that, it probably paid off because they got some publicity out of it. So that's
That's
maybe
true,
maybe that's
actually.
why so many people went and watch it just out of curiosity.
That was part of my reason of seeing it. I just said let's see how this goes with that new character design.
Right. And it worked out. I mean, they got you in there.
Yeah, exactly. Got me going there. Yeah.
Another one that is piquing my curiosity is I'm sure you got a glimpse of that Robert Pattinson Batman clip that they released this week. Um, I'm not sure how big of a Batman fan you are, but I'm a huge Batman fan.
I am
And
as well. I am as well.
how did you like this costume design? I guess you could say, or it was a short clip. I think it was a few seconds long, but
Yeah, the short clip was great. The music was unbelievable. It's from Michael Giacchino,
yeah,
who has done a lot of great scores, and so the fact that he's scoring this movie, I'm very excited for.
I especially like his work in The Incredibles. Yeah,
The Incredibles, you have him in. Also, he did Up, and Star Trek is the one that blows my mind every single
yeah.
time.
He
Like
also
all the newest Star Trek movies.
he also did Rogue One, Star Wars.
He did do Rogue One. Now
Yeah,
I'm remembering that. Yeah,
yeah. Which wasn't my favorite out of the Star Wars movies, but it was
I
still good.
it's a very interesting take because the Rogue One is more of a it's about an entire group instead of these certain characters. So at the end of that, you can't really name a certain character there because none of them really
No.
impacted you. It was about an entire team, which it was a fresh take that may not be as satisfying to some audience members.
Yeah.
I think.
Plus, Rogue One isn't fair to judge him off of because I think that he was a last minute replacement. He had like 6 weeks to score the whole movie, I believe.
That was one of the things. There was a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Gareth Edwards, the director, had to do a lot of editing, and so
Yeah, it was the whole Lucasfilms is insane right now, but
they're having
we
some
could do a
trouble.
whole podcast just about that.
You wonder, like, Marvel doing it so right and having it be so difficult to do it so right. You think it would be easy, but apparently
Right, that's what I'm
it's not.
saying. Like I think they're course correcting now with Star Wars.
Hmm.
Because I hear good things out of just rumors that might be changing around there, but man, like they really I'm a big Star Wars fan. It sounds like you are as well, but
I am, yes.
yeah, but to me they dropped the ball with this last trilogy. Like I
I see. I'm one of the people that will like Last Jedi. I
uh-huh.
do like it. I know that's a very polarizing topic.
Yeah.
Um, I just I just think that I understood a lot of people's criticisms. I understood that the
Yeah.
tone was a little bit off, and people didn't like that Luke went a different direction than
Right.
usual. I personally think, like, as a movie, that it was great.
Yeah.
As the second part of a trilogy, it may not have been the smartest move, like,
No.
because they changed a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
So, and that's where pretty much, like, I always fight with my friends on this because they hated the movie, I liked the movie, and we always just agree in the same level of where a standalone Star Wars movie like that would have been great. Like, it would
Yeah.
have been a lot darker, it would have been a lot more unexpected. But really, when you're having the second part of a trilogy, I think that the problem is that they just gave Ryan Johnson the ability to do whatever he wanted, and
Yeah.
I think that's great to a fault. But if you're the second part of a trilogy, you have to have a plan going through this, and you have to have the story in mind. And credit to Ryan Johnson, he said, "Oh, okay, I can do what I want. Cool. I'm gonna make the story go this way,"
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they had a an
and that
outline.
obviously didn't work out.
Yeah, I don't think they had an outline for the whole trilogy, and they gave them just too much freedom between movies, and it just you could see it, you could tell. I wasn't a big fan of the Last Jedi, but I've always said that it's a good movie. It's just not a great Star Wars movie.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where a lot of people fall on it.
But circling back to the Batman,
Oh
we,
yeah,
we we
wow,
we took a whole. Uh,
quite the detour.
yeah, what did you think of the design? Or I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on this, but I want to get your
So I
input.
couldn't really have too many thoughts because it was just such a quick clip. I mean,
Right.
I first of all love the casting of Pattinson. I think he's a dark enough actor to really pull off
Yeah.
like really an amazing Batman. I like the design. I know that there's the two guns that killed his parents on the chest
Oh yeah, yeah.
apparently, which I say, wow, that's really cool. But also, if they show the origin story of his parents getting killed again, I might actually lose my mind
Yeah,
because
right.
we know his
We know,
parents
yeah.
got shot. Like, I'm done with that. But they'll probably bring that in again. And but I really I dug it. I mean, I like where the direction. I mean, the only thing we know right now, based on this image and then the casting, and the casting is great
Great
on this
casting,
film.
yeah. The only
So
the only thing I don't like about the whole casting is they've already thought very far ahead, and so they did release a statement saying that they want to have standalone movies for some of the characters, and I think that's why they casted such big names for some of the villains and all the characters they have
oh
going on, because they want to branch out
yeah,
and do standalone movies out of them. And I'm like, oh man, let's just get the first one going and see if everybody
yeah,
likes it
that's true.
before
See
you
if it works
plan
out.
on a big universe, I guess.
Well, what DC's doing is very different than what Marvel's doing. Marvel had this set plan the whole time.
Right.
DC tried to keep up with that by bringing in the Justice League way too fast,
Yeah.
and it ended up not working. So now what DC is doing, which I like, is they're saying, you know what, we're just going to do all these different standalone movies and just enjoy ourselves with them. So they'll just bring in I mean, I didn't love the film that much, but they brought in just a movie completely about the Joker.
Yeah.
They brought in a movie that's just completely about Harley Quinn, which I thought was great. And they're doing each one of these on their own, and they're not really worried about making this connected universe.
Right.
So we'll see where this goes with the Batman. I mean, it's also that this whole thing is based off of I believe it's called The Long Night, the comic, where it's
Yeah.
just a ton of just villains all throughout. So the problem with a movie with a lot of villains is that does not work sometimes.
No, it
That
doesn't.
can get a little bit Spider-Man 3 is the prime example there, where it's just you don't have like a main antagonist. And
Right.
you look at something like Dark Knight, where they had a lot of villains, and that worked. So it could go either way.
Yeah, it could go either way. I mean, thoughts on the costume design? I liked how it looked, like the video games. But the whole cowl, the mask portion, I didn't like. I'm still iffy about it. I'm like, it reminds me too much of the Netflix Daredevil mask.
Well, I think that's with that weird red background where he's developing photographs or something like that. I don't know what was going on
Yeah, I
there.
don't know what was that
Um,
about. But it
it
also
was
reminds me
for
of the
more dramatic.
like this 1966 Batman, or was it 66? Yeah, I think it was 66. Wait, it's like it's just kind of on there, you know. I don't know.
He's
It,
got the
it,
pronounced ears.
yeah,
Yeah.
it looks a lot like that one. But we'll see. I mean, I'm skeptical of Robert Pattinson, to be honest. But I do think he's a great actor. I just don't know if he's gonna be good as Batman. But you see,
He's interesting.
in my head, I still have Ben Affleck as Batman. So because I wanted to see more of Ben Affleck, but we never got that.
It's a shame we didn't get the Ben Affleck directed Batman,
Right? I think it would have
because
been
I think
great.
that guy knows how to direct an action movie. Batman versus Superman was, an obvious slog, but
Yeah,
the scene where he's, beating everybody up was just really magnificent. It was the one
yeah,
good scene in that movie.
yeah,
So I wish we could have seen a little bit more of that, but he went his own way.
yeah. I wish we could have seen more of that. But well, now we have Robert Pattinson and well, a great cast behind him. We'll see how it works out. I mean, I'm excited for it because I'm a big Batman fan, but we'll see. One thing I did want to touch that you were talking about is that you didn't like the Joker movie.
No, I was not a fan, unfortunately, and I wanted to like it.
What did you
Yeah,
not like about it?
so I'd say, Joaquin's performance was great. I'm happy he got the Oscar. He deserves it. The actual movie itself, the messaging felt off. I don't understand. Like, it was first, put together in the beginning. I should start with this. I appreciate what the movie did. It did
Yeah,
it tried to do it, like its swing was great, where it tried to do this dark taxi driver esque, like storyline
yeah,
as a man descending closer into madness. I just feel like they did not fully reach its goal. I think that, I wasn't sure exactly what the message was. Was it about, mental health care? Was it about, just somebody like truly like, because of society, he goes mad? And it's about all of those things, I guess, but it didn't really drive home all of those points for me. I just felt like, it threw a lot against the wall and not much of it stuck.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I still appreciate what it was for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, one of the things I said about that movie was it didn't even have to be a Joker movie. I think
Hmm.
the whole reason they just put the Joker name on it and made sure it was a Joker character is to just probably sell more, you know, theater seats. Because it
Yeah,
could have been anything else, and it would have still been a great movie.
exactly.
Let's move on to I'm sure you got to see this Green Knight trailer.
I absolutely am so excited for this Green Knight trailer. It looks really, really good.
It looks amazing,
Um,
yeah,
I love the medieval storylines. I think they're, fascinating. I love
yeah,
the story of Sir Gawain. And I think that there's some great stuff in this where it's just they're doing, the visually beautiful, like hauntingly real medieval times, but also, the fantasy level of it looks really fascinating.
hmm,
And Dev Patel is just, he's right now, this is his year because he is the lead in two different movies, this and the Life and Times of David Copperfield,
yeah,
which looks very good as well.
yeah,
And I'm excited for him finally getting, I mean, he's gotten his due a little bit, but now he's really getting his due.
yeah.
And I think it's going to be great. Dev Patel is the one that was in Slumdog Millionaire
Oh yeah, that is right. That's where I've seen him
yeah,
from. Is Slumdog Millionaire.
and
Yeah.
Lion as well, which Lion was this great movie that nobody saw, which was really wonderful.
One thing that I thought about when I was watching the trailer, it looked very Ari Aster like.
It did look a lot like Ari Aster. Yeah, it was like kind of that, haunting,
Yeah, even
commentary
like
there.
with Midsummer, it kind of it has those like shots, and it just had like that feel to it. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
it
I mean,
was.
I can't wait for it. I'm for sure gonna see it.
Yeah, I'm
That's
looking
something
forward to
everybody
it.
should make time for because that looks really like this looks like it's gonna be a great movie. Talking about not so great movies though, or at least I didn't think it was great. The Aladdin movie, did you get to watch that?
Oh, I did. I did not hate it as much. Although when everyone says the hate, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Like I think that yeah, the Aladdin movie was I'm not for these. What I try to do when I'm watching these live action remakes is I tried not to think about the original at all, and
Yeah,
I put it as its own separate film. Because when you think about the original, you're like, oh, they're all kind of crap then.
yeah.
So when I was reviewing Aladdin, I gave it a higher rating than I expected, just because I was just saying like oh, if I just didn't think about the animated one, I would say that yeah, it was okay, and I just think it was just completely unnecessary. What they added in was not didn't add in anything to the previous. Um,
To the iteration, yeah.
Yeah, and it just I love these. I'm all for these Disney live action remakes if they can just do something different. And that's the case with any remake. I think recently I saw this weekend I saw Downhill, which
Yeah.
was which was a remake of Force Majeure, and I watched both of them in the same 24 hours, and it just there was nothing added that was new to the Downhill remake. And if you're going to do a remake, I'm fully on board with it, but you got to tell a slightly different story, or put it in a different setting, or do something that I don't know, just
Yes.
really adds to it, like says something better. And most of the live action remakes, with the exception of the Jungle Book is the only one
Jungle
that I
Book
think
is really good, yeah.
actually it's really good. It did something different. It put it in a different setting, and that's what made that one great. And yeah, other than that, though, they've just been line by line remakes. I mean, I look at the Lion King right now, where it's just it's the same thing.
It's the
It's
same thing,
the
yeah.
same exact thing. And if you want to watch it, watch the animated one. And everyone's like, yes, but it was great to just see that again. I'm like, yeah, go watch the animated, re-release that one, make
Yeah.
another billion, Disney.
Yeah.
Like without having to spend that much. I mean,
Yeah, like we've talked about that in the podcast. I was like, I didn't even know what John Favreau was there for. There's no need for directing it because I mean it's all CGI and it's all word for word, beat for beat, the same movie as the animated one.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, but you
Yeah,
know what?
it was unfortunate.
To I haven't rewatched Aladdin. I did rewatch The Lion King. I remember not enjoying The Lion King in theaters. I rewatched it
Hmm.
recently and it was all right. I mean, it was entertaining. I I liked it better than the first viewing for sure. I don't know. I just don't. Aladdin was way off for me. Like I didn't enjoy anything about that. I mean,
Well, it's weird.
I'll give it to them that I thought Will Smith was going to be the downfall, and actually that's the
Mm.
only thing that saved that movie. So
It was so great seeing him have fun again. Like,
yeah,
because we've had serious Will Smith so much, and now we're getting Bad Boys for Life and Aladdin, where he's just fun. Yeah, the Aladdin 2 thing. I mean, Guy Ritchie's coming back for it, and that was the other thing. I was like, Guy Ritchie was not a good fit for this movie at all.
no,
And I really loved what Guy Ritchie just did with The Gentleman. And I'm like, oh, Guy Ritchie's back. He's doing his British film with a million actors and having fun again. And then all of a sudden, he's I guess he got a sweet offer to do Aladdin too.
yeah. I have no idea what they're doing with this because I don't even know where they're gonna go with it. Like, I
Well, they
mean,
have the straight to a video Return of Jafar
yeah, they
that they
do.
did back in the day.
Yeah,
So maybe they'll do that. I have
maybe they'll
no
redo
idea
that.
though.
I mean, because they even have a spin-off standalone movie coming out for Aladdin. And I don't remember the character's name, but it's one of the princes or prince that shows up. And they're gonna do like a spin-off with him. And I don't know. They're all over the place with these movies, and I haven't enjoyed one yet, except for Jungle Book.
Yeah, I look at them now, and Dumbo had plenty of issues. Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was one that somewhat worked for me, but once again, it was one of those just shot for shot remakes, and I'm like, I could just watch the animated one and love it more.
Yeah, they're better.
But yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know if as long as you bring something new to the table, I'd be okay with it. But lately, they just have not done that.
yeah. Like they're also coming out with Bambi and Pinocchio live action remakes. So okay,
The Bambi one is I will say the Pinocchio one I'm actually on board with if
yeah,
they're gonna do this one right, because they're gonna have Guillermo del Toro there, and they could make this because the Pinocchio story is genuinely messed up, and it's
It
from
is,
very
yeah,
messed up origins. So
yeah,
if if they give Guillermo del Toro the reins, which might be tricky because they would terrify children,
yeah.
but I think that one could go really. I have hopes for that one. On the other hand, the Bambi one is just going to be the same thing where it's nothing but animals, and so it's going to be nothing but CGI. So it's going to be the same exact thing.
Yeah, I think that
And
was the what was that?
they'll cast like, and they'll have this amazing like perfectly cast movie where every single cast member will be like, oh, that's amazing,
Yeah,
it's so great that they got that person, and then it's going to be a complete waste. Like I
yeah,
don't know.
because I mean that was one of the biggest issues with The Lion King is that I mean you have a great cast, but you have basically animals that you can't emote emotion like you do in an animated movie.
Yeah, and then people were just like redoing like the Lion King, where they're like, oh well, what we could do is we can give them more animated faces, and then I'm like, oh, for the love of God, then just watch the animated
Then
movie.
just watch the animated.
Like, just, they're going through this like weird cycle where eventually they'll just literally just make the entire animated movie again.
It
It's
makes
odd.
less sense to me now because at least when these movies started first coming out, some of the animated movies were all in the vault, they would say, and you couldn't
Hmm.
buy a copy or rent a copy or stream it anywhere. Because I remember trying to watch Aladdin with my kids, and I couldn't find it anywhere. We couldn't watch it like unless you would buy it a physical copy online. You had to wait for it to get here and everything. So, but now with Disney Plus, they're all there. So
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
no excuse. You can watch them at any time now.
It's very true.
So I don't know. Like so now you have an animated version and a live action full CGI version on Disney Plus. So I don't know. Like I don't know what they're what. I mean,
I
I
think
guess they
most
make
people will choose the other one. Yeah.
yeah. I guess they make money. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're making tons of money off of them, but it just
They're
seems like
making money, and they also they get ownership of the intellectual property. I mean,
yeah.
that's part of it as well, and they're able to keep that ownership by redoing these. I will say I am also excited for. I forgot to mention this one. I think the Mulan live action
Oh yeah,
does
yeah.
look interesting,
The Mulan.
because
Yeah,
they're doing something different. Like
yeah,
they're doing it like where it's a straight up war movie and stuff, and they're not
yeah,
making it. I mean, they're making it silly in terms of the witches and stuff showing up, but
yeah.
I think do something different, and I will be interested without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. I tend to leave Mulan out because it's so different. It looks like it's not even part of Disney, so it
Yeah, that's
looks
what I'm liking about that one.
yeah, it looks
Yeah.
really good. And when I first saw the first trailer of Mulan, I was kind of disappointed. They didn't have any of the music. They didn't have any of the original animated like characters. But man, the more I see of it, the better it gets. It looks really good.
Yeah, I've got high hopes for that.
Yeah. Another Disney property that's going to be coming back is Honey I Shrunk the Kids reboot for I
Hmm.
think that's going to be a straight to Disney Plus thing though.
It
But
sounds like that's what that would be.
yeah, but they got Rick Moranis back,
Yeah.
which is crazy because he didn't come back for Ghostbusters, but he came back for Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
So he is he retired very early in the aughts, or possibly late 90s.
Yeah,
And it was due to his wife passed away,
yeah,
and he decided to take care of his kids, and it's an incredible, I mean, it's incredibly sad, but also an incredibly wholesome
yeah,
story. I'm looking at it now. He has not been in a live action theatrical film since 1994's Little Giants.
yeah,
Whew. So he truly was in there. He did the DVD continuation, The Honey We Shrunk Ourselves, a great movie in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
I love that one. But he hasn't been around since then. And you're right, he couldn't really come out. He didn't really come out for Ghostbusters, and the fact that they're bringing him out for this means that either there's quite a bit of money. He also has said publicly that he's willing to come out of retirement again. I mean, his kids are grown up now. He's a little bit more ready to kind of go here. But someone coming out of retirement for something means that that means that this is probably good. Like, this is probably, he knows that the right people are behind it, and he's ready to come back. I don't see anything here on it being Disney Plus. I'm trying to find it.
No, I don't see anything either. It just says Disney's upcoming reboot of Honey I Shrunk the Kids. Doesn't really say anything about Disney, but I thought I read somewhere that it might be Disney Plus. I mean, it'll be either way. I'm willing to watch it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed every single one of the Honey I Shrunk the Kids movies.
They were
So
always a fascinating movie. Like, then they had the Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, and it was
yeah,
always they tapped into a great childlike imagination
yeah,
that I really you really dig because when you're little you just think like, oh, what if everything was big, or then you could think, oh, what if everything was little and stuff,
yeah.
and you really start to like they tap into that imagination. So we'll be hitting back with that nostalgia, which that's what I said in mine. It's like nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and between that and also the Emilio Estevez comeback.
Yeah, that's which is what we're going to
So
talk about next. But
it's great to see
both of
those
them
two.
coming back is crazy. I don't know how to think about it. I mean, I guess they might have offered him a ton of money. It is Disney, so they have pockets.
Yeah, they've got it.
Yeah, to come back for Honey I Shrunk the Kids. I wonder if he liked the script and he just wasn't interested in the script for Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it says here, it just sort of said why he turned down the Ghostbusters reboot. He said it really just makes no sense to me. So
Yeah,
I think he's against the reboot thing, but apparently
yeah,
this one he's okay with. I mean, yeah, that's the one thing as I think about these, like all of these shows getting rebooted and all of these movies getting rebooted. It is, I don't think that Hollywood's run out of original ideas. I don't. I'm not one of those
no,
people that's going to say that. I think that they just know, like, hey, this is what people want. This was successful in the past. So let's
yeah.
take the safe route
I
and make the
think,
money. And
yeah, I think it's
I don't blame
just
them.
safe. Yeah, I've said
Yeah,
the same thing. I think why are you gonna waste millions of dollars in something new that you're not sure of when this is pretty much guaranteed. That a
exactly. Yeah,
reboot's guaranteed money. So I get it in a business standpoint, but it is kind of crazy how many reboots we're getting.
it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But yeah, it's I do wish the original ideas still come out there. The problem is that studios just have to hook into them, which they are doing. You look at Sundance just happened, and all these studios, and most of them were just Netflix and stuff. Were buying up those properties, which is great because then they'll come out. They'll bring them out into the forefront. So there will still be the original ideas, but they will be overshadowed by remakes like this.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention Emilio Estevez coming back for the Mighty Ducks, and it has been said it's going to be a Disney Plus TV series.
This I remember is Disney Plus. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this because I remember as a kid I was a big Mighty Ducks fan.
And I think the Disney Plus, I think it's great that they're bringing, a popular movie and they're bringing it into a show instead.
Yeah,
I think that's actually,
it's pretty
something
smart. I
great.
think. Yeah,
They have one of the actors from Good Boys on it.
yeah,
They have like a lot of, looking at this, they have a lot of great people there.
yeah,
Dijon Watts, Kiefer O'Reilly. Oh wow, this is going to be actually pretty good.
yeah,
So they got the great cast. Lauren Graham is also in there. I think that this could be very, very promising. I wonder, I'm sure they'll sort of continue Gordon Bombay as a coach, and he's still coaching youth hockey, which that could be put into a little bit of a dark context. I mean, the guy is like now 75, and he's coaching youth hockey still, and he never did anything else. But that might get a little bit dicey. But
yeah,
I do love the idea of this show. This really falls under the Honey I Shrunk the Kids narrative, where it's like I don't like that they keep on rehashing old things, but also I will be watching both of those because these are childhood movies, and they've got me by the hook. They
yeah.
got me by the hook of nostalgia.
Same here. Especially Mighty Ducks. Like, I mean, I've never played hockey in my life, but I remember I remember really enjoying those movies.
They were great. They were really good, actually. I
Yeah.
loved them.
Yeah, and I'm glad they got him back. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna continue his storyline. I'm sure. Well, you know what? Maybe they'll use him. You remember the old guy that was in that skate shop or something like that. They
He was
had?
the one that owned the skate shop. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
maybe
like
they'll
that
use
idea.
him that way, and they'll bring in a new coach with a new team, and he's kind of mentoring them. That would make sense.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe he has he's taking over the shop, and a new coach comes in or something like that. That'd be good. I like that. Do you have Disney Plus yet, or?
I do have Disney Plus. When we went on our Star Wars detour, I was going to mention that even though I feel like it is a little bit of messy right now,
Yeah.
the Mandalorian they're doing very, very right. I
Oh
mean,
man,
I think that's
The Mandalorian is
critical and
awesome, man.
audience consensus. Yeah, The Mandalorian was just extraordinarily well done, and so now they're bringing Deborah Chow in, the director,
Yeah,
where the director of a lot of those episodes, and she was in, like, every time you'd see her name, it was like after one of the best action episodes, and
yeah,
so I'm just saying to myself, okay, this is perfect. Like, they're gonna put her, like, in charge of the show. I know that the Obi-Wan situation is interesting
yeah,
because I it's not as bad as I think it was originally cast out to be. I think it was just, they had some issues with some of the making of it. Ewan McGregor said everything's still happening. It's just got pushed back. No one needs to worry. So I think it's still okay. It just got pushed back for
yeah.
reasons they didn't get into.
Yeah, it got well. The reason it got pushed back, for what I read, anyways, was that the script was very similar to the Mandalorian script, and
Yeah, that makes sense.
so they were going back and rewriting it. And I think they brought in Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to rewrite the script for Obi-Wan. So that's why it was put on hold, and but it was still gonna happen. And yeah, Deborah Chow has some of the best episodes for the Mandalorian are from her. So I'm excited for that
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. Same
Mandalorian
here.
is awesome, man. And you know what? It has one of my favorite scores. It's really good.
The score is very good. I always forget how good that score is. They really epitomize the Wild Wild West team with that.
Yeah, and I remember first hearing it. It sounded so different. I wasn't too sure about it, and then the more I heard it, I was like, "Dude, this is amazing!" Like I really liked it, and they should really, take more Star Wars in that direction. Just make it different from all the John Williams stuff.
Well, and so I feel like that's, just by the John Williams thing, and then the stories, like, it's sort of, okay, let's not talk about the Death Star anymore. Let's not talk about the
Right?
Skywalkers anymore. Let's get into something that really, mentions the fall of the Empire and,
Yeah,
has the bounty hunters, but that's it. And really create our own little thing. Oh, and of course Yoda, but
yeah,
and just create its own little thing. Just put it off to the side, which was very welcomed by the audiences and critics alike. We all were happy to see that.
yeah. I mean, I can't wait to get more Mandalorian. I mean, I know the season 2's coming out this year already. It's gonna be a quick turnaround, and I can't wait for
October,
more.
yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen any of the animated. I always, whenever I talk Star Wars, I ask if people have seen the animated stuff like the Clone Wars and Rebels.
I've wanted to get into both of those. I did not do them in time, so I'll have to binge them sometime because I've heard they're amazing. It's
They
something
are
I
amazing.
definitely want to try.
At
to
least
watch.
for any
Oh,
Star Wars
man.
fan, it's there's really amazing stuff in there.
It fills a lot of the holes that the prequels left open. I heard.
Yeah, it does. It really does, and you get to see kind of Dave Filoni's mind because he's the one that kind of comes up with the stories in both those animated series, and I'm glad to hear that in the Star Wars world they're gonna bring him along more into the movies with Jon Favreau included. So I'm excited about that, and I'm looking forward to the future of Star Wars now.
As well. Me too.
Yeah. The last thing was Stranger Things 4. They have a sneak peek, I guess you could call it. It wasn't, I don't know. You could have just released a picture and you would have just told everything in that video. But
Well, that's the thumbnail of the picture is like, I'm looking at the thumbnail of it right now, and it's David Harbour's face. So
yeah,
already it's like, okay,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's
So
what
I
it
know
is.
what's going on. Yeah,
Like, I mean, he was the most unsurprising still alive ever,
right.
because you knew he was going to be, still alive.
Yeah.
But
So
it's interesting how
you're all caught up
go
with
for it.
Stranger Things?
I am, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
From what I hear, this might be the last one.
Boy, I do hear that they have an end in mind. I
Yeah.
forget if it's the 4th season or the 5th.
Yeah, I think it was coming.
mean-
Like it was soon though that the ending. That it was going to be the end. It's either this one or the next one. I remember all the speculation that he was still alive. I was on the other side of it. I was like, no, I hope he should stay dead because that
I
would
think
kind
he
of
should stay dead.
yeah, that kind of ruins the impact of the final. The ending of season 3. But
Yeah, that lovely letter, and it was just this
yeah,
beautiful emotional moment, and now all of that's gone.
yeah,
It's just such a shame that it's kind of now it's just been put out because it's he's there. I mean, there's the theories going around that this is technically he has time traveled, so this is back at way back. There's the theories are absolutely fascinating. Some of the fan theories, they say that he's going to be the villain in season 4. Actually, they just brought him back as a straight up villain.
oh, that'd be interesting.
there is the whole thing where technically this is the 80s, close to the end of the 80s, and
Oh,
he right now is in Russia, so he's getting dangerously close to the Chernobyl disaster, and that could be part of this.
oh, that'd be interesting too.
Yes, there's a few crazy theories floating around out there, which I love all those, but I'm sure it's just he was transported there, he's a prisoner and still a good guy, but I don't know what could happen there.
Yeah, the Chernobyl connection would be pretty awesome, actually.
That would be nuts. I mean, that would really be one of the craziest ones.
Yeah, did you get to watch the Chernobyl series on I think HBO?
Yeah, I loved that
Oh
series.
my god, that
my
was so
goodness.
good. I still can't
So
believe people
unbelievable.
haven't seen it because that was amazing. I really enjoyed that series.
It was great that each episode was its own story. Like they had the storyline going through with Jared Harris
Right.
and Stellan Skarsgård, but really each one was its own setting. It's like one took place, several months after. Then there was the one that took place beforehand without our two main characters in it. And they it was a brave way to show that narrative, which I just absolutely loved.
Yeah, that's a really good series. So I'm guessing you're also watching. That was the last of our topics. Stranger Things was, and now I like to leave the show open for stuff that we're watching, stuff that we recommend for the week, stuff like that. The Time Warp Zone. I would like to ask you, what are you currently watching?
Right now, actually, just before you called, I was watching High Fidelity, not
Okay.
the movie. It's the Hulu series with Zoe Kravitz as the John Cusack character.
Oh yeah. I
And
did see a
it's
clip of that. I haven't started watching it yet.
it's very good. I
Yeah.
was kind of amazed because I was someone that really liked High Fidelity. As a young man growing up, you sort of identify with that character and all of his failed loves and heartbreaks and things like that. And this does that same deal, but Zoe Kravitz taking on that role, I originally scoffed at it because I was like, wow, they're really going to put someone else in there.
Yeah.
I think people will get a little bit upset of having a woman in the man's character. There'll be those people, but it
Yeah.
really fits well. You relate with her incredibly well. She has an unpredictable energy where if you've only seen Zoe Kravitz in Big Little Lies, where she is not given anything good to work with, and that season 2 was just pretty rough because it just kind of went right to her, and they didn't really give her any emotion.
Right.
I think that it's just something where you see her and you're like, oh, we're having fun, and it's got as the supporting cast, it's got the amazing one from Dolomite Is My Name. I believe her name is Divine. Oh no, I gotta look it up because I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
She
I
was in
can't remember her
Dolomite Is
name.
My Name as the standout, and she is in this as one of the friends that run the record store. I guess in a way it's the Jack Black like character, but it was absolutely all right. I always say that Divine Joy Randolph.
Oh, okay.
And she is absolutely unbelievable. It is so funny. They have their usual music debates, and I'm not a big music guy, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is something that sucks me in. And so right now I'm watching that and very much enjoying it.
That's good. That's good. I'm currently watching. I don't know if you caught up to the morning show on Apple Plus
Oh yes.
and The Outsiders on HBO.
Oh wait, that's okay. That's a whole nother beast. Yeah, The Outsider. Oh my god,
So,
that is so good.
are you all caught up on that one?
I am all caught up on that one, and I absolutely love it.
I just don't know where they're going with that. It's kind of crazy.
I love the most recent one. Not to I'll keep the spoilers low, but it's obvious it's going to be about a supernatural thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
At
love
this
when she
at this
pitched
point,
her
yeah.
super and at this point she pitched her supernatural theory, and I love that half the detectives acted the usual suspicious detective way,
Right.
and then half of them were like, "No, I think this might be right." I
Yeah.
love they ended up breaking off into these factions where they're all arguing about whether or not this crazy stuff is real, and I love because normally it would just be everyone would be against her. Everyone would be, but in this one, it's just kind of like, well, I mean, based on what we've seen, this kind of makes sense.
I know. I
It's
mean,
just this matter of fact.
I guess the way she presented it, she brought a lot of facts to the table, and then you're just like, could it be real? You know?
Well, that's the thing. I argue with these people that are skeptics where I'm like, guys, you've seen a guy that's in the same place at the same time. You know something weird is happening. So
Yeah,
start to accept these weird theories. And
yeah.
the way that last episode ended, oh my God, just absolute terror.
I
Like,
know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh, actually, we'll get to see today, right? Or today it should be out.
oh, yes, no, tonight it's going to be on.
Yeah,
Oh, thank God. I'm
yeah.
so excited.
Because I can't wait. I want to binge watch the whole thing, but they give it to us week by week. And the morning
Yeah,
show
and
is
that's an interesting model. Is the
yeah,
binge versus the week by week, because I always I say to myself sometimes I just want to straight up binge something, but sometimes I like to let that episode marinate for a whole week and
yeah.
just kind of
It
get a little
builds.
bit messed up with
It
it.
definitely builds anticipation. I think I honestly think it depends on the show. Like, for example, The Mandalorian, I think you could have binged it and probably enjoyed it more because it was just
Oh yeah,
20 minutes at a time and it wasn't enough story. If you would have just binged it, that show would have, I think it would have heightened its hype. It would have
yeah.
been a better show. But then you have shows like the Outsiders. I think week by week would be better for that show because you get to build up that anticipation for the next episode.
You have everyone's theories going around. You're discussing it at the
Right.
water cooler.
Yeah.
It gets fascinating that way.
Yeah, I think it just depends on what you're watching, but yeah, I mean, now that I have the podcast and Instagram, Facebook, all that, I just end up binge watching a lot of stuff, watching multiple movies at a time.
That's what I end up doing too now. It's just I keep on I have a list of all the stuff I have to watch, and so it's
Yeah,
getting longer and longer by
yeah,
the day.
because you need content. You gotta keep going.
And then it's the stuff I end up watching stuff that I never thought I would. Like I probably would.
Right.
I gave up on The Witcher at first because I did not really like it,
Oh,
and then I just said everyone's loving this show, so I got to keep on going with it. And I'm glad I did.
oh, are you? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it at all?
I did, yes. I think that their little cute little timeline jumps were it made for the show to not be as engaging, and I think something like a Netflix model where you have to kind of drag them in right away, and it was something where I was just sort of every single episode was about an entirely different thing, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, is The Witcher in this? Like, what's going on here? And then eventually it got to a point where I liked it a lot towards the end, but it was tough to get into for me.
Yeah, I mean, same here for me. Like, I didn't enjoy it. I think I got to 2 episodes and then I stopped watching it. And I'm like, no, I have to watch it because so many people are liking it. And I got through the whole thing and I didn't like it at all. I was like, I don't know why so many people so many people are liking it because I don't get it. I mean, I
Yeah,
understood where we ended up at. I got the time jumps and different
yeah.
storylines, but I just felt like it didn't pay off at the end. Like I knew where it was gonna go, and then they were gonna eventually, get together, and so maybe I just guessed the ending too soon, and it didn't work
I'm
for me. But
I'm hoping maybe season 2 is better. I think that season 1, yeah, the time jump thing, that's what I felt like made it unsatisfying for me, was jumping back and forth. I just I
yeah,
didn't really.
yeah, and they didn't
Yeah,
do a great job to define like the time periods and time jumps. Because I remember watching it,
yeah.
I was like, okay, wait, this is in the past, but they didn't look any different. Like the characters didn't look different, or
Absolutely.
there
Yeah, you have
wasn't.
to have someone have a cut on their cheek or something like that. They
Yeah,
always do those weird things.
yeah,
Yeah.
they always do those. Like with time jumps and stuff, you always get a character getting hurt in the beginning with a cut on their forehead or something, so you could kind of tell
Hmm.
where it's going.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this didn't do that at all. So I don't know. I didn't enjoy it, but I know a lot of people did though.
Yeah, I'm sort of half and half. I'm a little bit tepid about it. I'm hoping that we get a better season 2, but that was
Right.
about it for me.
Yeah. Same here. Anything else you're watching?
What else am I watching now? I just started Sex Education. It's the British
Oh
show
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah. I've
Netflix.
seen it. I've seen both
Um,
seasons now.
how do you like it? Because I do like it, but I just keep on starting to watch other things because of I
I
guess other things are capturing my
I
interest.
enjoyed it. I like it a lot. I almost feel like someone younger would enjoy it more.
I can see that. Yeah, it seems like it's better than a CW show, but it's got that CW show quality.
It's like a young adult
Hmm.
show. Yeah, someone younger. I think I'm 33, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 30, so I mean, I can sometimes dip into those YA shows, but they're not as great usually.
Yeah, I mean sometimes like, back to Star Wars, like most of their novels are YA, but they have really good novels. So I mean I don't mind the whole young adult stuff, but this does seem like it would cater more to someone in that age range.
Yeah, and I think it's just good. Like shows like this and Big Mouth are out there for people that may not be access to a healthy amount of sexual education, that they see these, and
Right.
they I feel like they have a certain responsibility
Yeah,
to just sort of say like hey, go for it.
one thing I do remember saying in a review actually I did for season 2 is that the show is very brave because it hits a lot of topics that you really don't see on TV. Like sex education stuff. It is. I'm surprised at times at how far they're willing to go.
That's interesting. I'm going to look forward to seeing that. Yeah, I did a little poll of whether or not to watch that or season 2 of the OA, and overwhelmingly people said to watch Sex Education. So
Yeah, I mean I didn't watch season 2 of the OA. The first one the first season I enjoyed, but it was out there. I was like, wow, like they really
it's
just
so out there.
yeah. And then
I
I
yeah.
enjoyed it a lot, but I guess not enough to watch season 2 because I haven't watched it yet.
Well, I heard the different actress, and just like they really just kind of like I heard they went incredibly off the rails, which some people loved and some people hated. The show ended up getting canceled because of that. So I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah, I would
How
watch
that's
it.
gonna
Yeah, I
go.
think you made the right choice to watch Sex Education. Sex Education is good, and I'm when I say like they're brave in hitting some topics, I'm not. It's not like a whole episode of one topic. Like I don't know, whatever it might be. But they sprinkle it in there to where you're like, well, I'm surprised they even went there.
That's interesting. You know what? I love that idea. So they just kind of like they don't have like an episode dedicated to this topic or that topic.
No,
It's
say there'll be like a gay couple, and they don't know. They're both experimenting or something, and they'll kind of talk about it, and that's about it. But they actually hit on the topic about it, so it's kind of it is interesting.
great. I'm looking forward to seeing that one then.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you. That's why I'm being
Yeah,
vague.
that's true. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have Apple Plus yet?
I do have Apple Plus, so I have seen Morning Show.
Oh, okay, I'm just watching it now, and I'm really
Yeah.
enjoying it actually.
It's weird. Like I think it's a very enjoyable show. I thought that I thought that they kept on just almost like the Joker. They kept on reaching for these themes that they just don't really cover that well. I mean, I I was don't get me wrong. I kept on hitting next episode and enjoyed myself every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, just sort of it felt like it could have been better explored with the really delicate topics they're working with.
Yeah, that I haven't finished watching it, but um, I'm enjoying it so far. I like it, but I
Yeah,
do one thing I did say is like I think this is the best I've seen Jennifer Aniston in. Um,
I agree with that.
yeah,
She
she's
is absolutely
this
amazing.
has to be the best thing she's done so far.
Easily.
Really surprised because I didn't think she had that kind of not acting chops, but yeah, I guess so. Maybe she was just typecasted too much throughout her career because the whole
Well,
Friends thing and stuff. But
yeah, she had Rachel on her back for 10 years, and that's just tough to shake. And so she
yeah,
kept on getting Rachel roles,
yeah,
and this is where something where she's given something different, better, where she's playing almost like a Katie Couric like
yeah,
um, presence, and it's showing off, and it's working very well.
yeah,
And that is that is the high point without a doubt for me.
yeah.
Is
That was really
how
good.
good she is.
I'm surprised because she even outshines Reese Witherspoon most of the time. So
She does. Reese, I love Reese Witherspoon. I think she's an amazing actress. This show it's a weird character for her. It's turned into a bit too much of a caricature. Like I don't love her that much in this, unfortunately.
yeah.
Um,
I get it.
I feel like it's a little bit odd.
Yeah, I'm
She's
just
trying to play like it's weird because she wants to play like a Tommy Lauren type where she's conservative, but there's literally nothing that tells her she's conservative except the fact that she says I'm conservative.
yeah.
Like it's one of those where I'm just like, all right, you want to have a conservative character in there, but there's no actual traits there that go with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. We'll see how it ends up.
Hmm.
But I just got Apple Plus recently, so I'm trying to see what else I could watch on there.
The other ones I wanted to check out, I watched the first episode of the show C,
Mm-hmm.
with Jason Momoa,
Yeah, yeah.
and Alfre Woodard, and it's basically a culture where everyone in the world is blind except for a few people, and like being able to see is like considered heresy, like
Mm.
because years and years later, and so that was very very. It was fascinating. I may check that one out again. The other
Yeah,
ones I have on my list are For All Mankind, where it's what if the Russians beat us to the moon,
yeah.
and then the Servant, which is the M Night Shyamalan
That's the one I
show they
kind of
have
want to
on there.
watch just because it's M Night
That one
Shyamalan.
I've heard is great. Yeah, and like I heard it's like one of those things where like maybe Shyamalan could be better off with TV because I think I like some of his movies, and some of his movies are a little bit tough, and so
Yeah,
if he keeps on going with this TV medium, that might work better for him
yeah. I
because
mean,
people
he
seem
is
to
that
like
kind
that.
of storyteller, so I could see that. I could see that
He
being
does have an
better for him.
episodic feel to his stuff. That's
Yeah, I
true.
mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how. I haven't seen what people think of the trilogy, but I want to like. I thought it was a great trilogy. It was Unbreakable and then Split and Glass. I thought that was great.
I really liked. I mean, obviously, Unbreakable was a low key, like one of his best.
Yeah,
Split was
definitely.
very good, and Glass, Glass was interesting.
Yeah,
I actually liked it more than most people. Because people were giving that very unfair malignment when I thought it was actually fairly interesting what they were doing with the superhero story, which was very different than the usual thing.
yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. Like, well, I wouldn't say hugely, but I mean, when you put them together, I thought it was a great trilogy.
Yeah, I'd say so. I really enjoyed that whole like level that they had with it. Yeah, I liked it. It was the problem was they put the dramatic moment in the beginning. They did
Yeah,
a lot of things very different from the usual like type of movie, and so I think that turned people off. But I did enjoy it quite a bit.
yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Any movies that you're currently watching or that you want to watch?
So as of now, this weekend I've had some time off, so I went to see Downhill and Sonic.
Yeah,
Loved Sonic, did not like Downhill at all. I thought I'd like that one a lot more. And there's a couple more I've wanted to see. I wanted to see The Photograph with Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield.
yeah.
It hasn't been that popular, but I just love those two actors very much, and I think they could put out something great. And it got okay reviews, so that means there's something to it at least.
Right, right.
Other than that, though, I heard Fantasy Island is terrible, so I almost want to see it.
Oh
But
yeah,
that's
I
pretty
did
much
hear
it.
that too. Yeah, and one I think one movie that I might end up watching this weekend is that I still haven't watched because I'm not that interested is The Lighthouse.
Oh, Lighthouse was great.
Yeah, I hear people say it's great. Some people say it was okay, and I'm like I'm still sitting here, not very interested in it. I'm like, I guess I'll watch it.
It's purely insane. Like it's a very simple premise. It's these two lighthouse captains get
Yeah,
stranded on their island, and then they both either things happen that are unbelievable, or they just go crazy. I'm more in the making that they just went absolutely insane. And it's great to just see because the premise is easy to understand, and then after that it's just like, okay, so now it's just crazy. Like now you have to sit back and realize, okay, everyone's going crazy, the entire thing is crazy, let's enjoy ourselves now. And it just turns into that, and I sort of loved it for its courageous thing where it just said, all right, we're just gonna go full art. And it was fun that way. It really was.
yeah, yeah. I'll probably get to watch it this weekend. Finally make some time for it. Um,
The other one I saw was Horse Girl on
oh
Netflix.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one I wanted to check out. But
Yeah,
then I saw the reviews weren't that great.
I can understand why the reviews aren't good. It's a very experimental film where it's through the perspective of someone suffering from mental illness,
Yeah,
and I think that makes the story impossible to follow intentionally,
yeah,
and so that's why it's turning people off. It's like I saw the end of that movie, and I was like, well, that was unsatisfying. I also appreciate what it was doing, where it was, okay, this is someone suffering from mental illness through their perspective, never been done before, and I really like that. They just that causes a very unsatisfying and a story that doesn't really work.
right, right, right. Yeah, I'll check it out because Netflix is on there for whenever I want to watch it anyway. So
Yeah, exactly. It's right there waiting for you whenever you want.
right, right. Let's talk about your Instagram page. I
Oh
got to,
yes, yes.
yeah, I got to, I've been following you, and I saw that it's been growing pretty fast too. So
It's
congratulations.
unbelievable that this has happened. I really don't know. Yeah, it's just like, all of a sudden, it just sort of blows up. And, I got a lot of friends that, take credit for that. They share it all the time.
Yeah.
And it just started to really, get going, which I've been very fortunate because I've only had it for about a year. And,
Oh, okay.
the followers have just shot up pretty quick. But yeah, so I thought about it. I said, I keep on posting stuff online. I just like always post it on my social media. I'm like, I don't think my
Right.
friends really care that much. So let me try to just turn this into an audience thing. And
Right.
from
Right.
there, it's just become, it feels almost like a second job where I'm just like
Oh,
always
I know,
reviewing and
man. I
always going
know.
over it.
I
And
know.
but it's been great. It's been a great hobby to have, and it was just meant for it to be an outlet. But then now that like so many people have caught on, it's just great. I should mention, yeah, it's Math Teacher Movies.
Yeah, math teacher
It's
movies. Yeah, of course.
Give it a follow. I do have a lot of fun. There's a lot of people on there that love to disagree with me, and then we get into very good discussions about it. And I really
Yeah.
like because I haven't been on like the same side of a lot of people with the most recent movies. Like for example, The Joker was one of the ones where I really disagree with a lot of people, and it was fun to sort of watch that that discussion unfold.
I guess, yeah, I know when you say you didn't like it, I was like, oh, well, why didn't you like it?
Yeah, there was a few people, a few friends of mine that were just kind of like, why not? I'm like, I don't know, like it didn't really satisfy me.
Yeah, I started following actually pretty early, and then I saw your numbers kept going up, and I was like, wow, it's actually doing very well.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I appreciate you being one of the ones that stood along for a while with me.
Yeah. Do you guys have a name for your podcast already, or?
We don't have a name quite yet. We are going to be like basically reviewing several films that fit under this certain genre.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Okay,
so like each episode will be its own film, and so
that's cool.
we'll kind of go through it from there. But yeah, I'll definitely be posting the episodes on my Math Teacher Movies page
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
keep
So
that going.
everybody stick around to or follow math teacher movies, and then they'll have I'm sure soon an announcement for a podcast coming out. So I did see you grade your movies like what A through C or A through D or something like that.
A through F, but I don't give a lot of Fs. F is literally if there is nothing good about that movie, like just straight up, like I don't have one good thing to say about it.
Yeah,
A D is where I quite literally have just one good thing to say. A C is where I'm just sort of, just like a C, very middle of the road about it. Like it's just as good as it is bad. And then A and B. A is the absolute. I can't find any flaw to it at all, and B is where I have a couple of flaws with that movie. So
yeah,
I like to do the letter grades not just for the theme because it's Math Teacher Movies, but
yeah, yeah.
I it's really just because it like I don't know. Some people do the numbers, the stars, and I have issues with it just because I think it's such a subjective thing. Movies where I feel like just putting a number on it, even though I'm technically putting a letter on it, which would be 1 through 5.
Yeah,
But it just feels a little bit better to put that letter grade on instead of a number.
yeah. So does that mean you don't give a lot of Fs in your class either?
Oh, well, that's a little different. If the kids aren't doing work, then they get the Fs. Yeah,
Oh, so
if they
okay.
don't, yeah, like usually, yeah, if they're trying really hard and stuff like that, I'll get them to that D. But oh boy, if they're not doing anything, that would be
You-
equivalent of me walking into the theater and the movie not playing, and I'd be like, okay, you fail.
oh man, so you're not a cool math teacher then.
Apparently not. No, no. I give them many chances, but like no, like,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Uh, well, I mean, one of the things I remember about school and stuff was sometimes they would play movies in class. Do you do any of that?
I do, when there's, when we're at a time that, I can't start. Like just recently, we had our before vacation, and so I had one class to do everything, and I was like, you know what? Instead of like starting a new topic before we like leave for a vacation, let me just straight up like just show. I try to like keep it somewhat mathematical, so I'll show
Yeah.
movies like Hidden Figures, Moneyball. What was another one I tried? But I do like the math type of movies
Oh, that's
just to
that's
keep them
cool.
somewhat in there.
I
Yeah.
mean, I remember seeing some of the movies that stuck to me are actually movies I probably saw in class. Like, we saw West Side Story in class, and
Oh wow.
Life is Beautiful, which is the Italian.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we saw that stuff in class, and I was that really just those movies just stuck to me, I guess, because this was one of my favorite movies.
That's great to hear. Yeah, like I guess I could feel the same way about that. Like we watched a lot of different movies on different history levels in class and everything.
Yeah, but I'm sure watching movies. Do you do you just can't stop talking about the movies while they're after they're done watching them?
They'll start to say even before that. I'll always say like, "Hey guys, you got to watch Parasite this weekend, or you got to watch
Mhm.
this movie this weekend. It's pretty good." And so I get the same like kind of deal where you know um, what was it? Yeah, it's like then the kids have started to ask, like, Mr. Phillips, what do you feel about the new Star Wars movie? Or Mr. Phillips, how do you like the Oscar nominations? They read me right there, and I'm just like, all right, well, let's talk about this for 20 minutes. You got me.
They know how to make you just waste some time instead of getting
They
right
know
to
how
it.
to get to me, and I say, oh, you're not going to get me to. Well, actually, when I think about it,
Yeah.
and that's where I lose it.
What did you think about the Oscars? Were you surprised or with the Best Picture?
I knew that Parasite was going to be the dark horse. I was like, 1917 is probably going to win, but there is this chance that Parasite could win. And then during the actual broadcast, after he's winning so many, and the crowd is just absolutely loving Parasite winning all these Oscars, I was like, okay, Best Picture is going to Parasite. This is the year. It's got to be a really good movie in order for a foreign film to win Best Picture. And the fact that it went to Parasite is what it absolutely just makes the most sense.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved that win. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, watching all the movies, Parasite was my favorite. I mean, it was so different and just all sorts of genres mixed into it, and it was just a great movie, and I'm glad it won.
I was so glad to hear it win because the Academy once in a while does it right. A few years back they did Moonlight, then they did Parasite, and I like when they can do it right. Sometimes they want to give it to like the movie that's making the most noise, and that's okay. But I think that this year, you know, Parasite was the popular win. That was the best call, and
Yeah.
it's now people are going to see it. It's back in theaters. It's on Amazon. People are renting it. My folks are renting it, which I would never expect my folks to rent on Amazon a South Korean film, and they
Yeah.
did that. And it's like that's something great about the Oscars is they're doing those types of things.
Yeah, that is good about the Oscars. I remember watching the Oscars as a kid, and then I was like, I would always be like, I haven't watched any of these movies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man.
and even I remember my parents being like, "Well, they look good, but I don't know if I want to rent them." You know?
That's what they would do. They would rent one or two of the most popular ones. Like I remember, I had to stay upstairs when my parents watched The Green Mile, and
Yeah.
good thing because if I watched like that guy get electrocuted dry, that would have been something that messed with me for probably the rest of my life.
You know what? Like sometimes I'm like, oh man, I remember watching this movie as like really early, and then I go back look at the year that it came out. I'm like, I was like 5. I'm like, what am I doing watching these movies?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I have the same exact problem. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'd eventually they would want to watch them, and so we would be around, and so they'd have to put them there.
yeah. That's pretty much it. Or either that, or I just was watching movies wait like because I remember always being staying up late. So I remember just we had cable all the time, so I'd probably watch them that way.
Oh yeah, no, you could always get away with the HBO, the HBO move. Like we used to have HBO, and just I would watch all those crazy movies that would come out.
Yeah, that's how it was. That's how it all started. Just can't sleep and just strolling through all the TV channels, and that's where you catch something that you're not supposed to be
That's where
watching.
you'd run into it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Well, man, I'm glad you came on the show. I'm excited for your podcast, and I'm glad to see your page keep growing. And I hope you get more.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, thank you so much again for having me. I would love to come back on.
Yeah, follow his Instagram page, Math Teacher Movies, and you'll get a announcement there soon for a podcast.
It'll be happening pretty soon. Yeah, let's hope it happens in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's awesome, man! I can't wait to hear. I'll for sure listen in and leave a review and everything.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and you can always find me and No Time for Movies on Instagram and No Time the number 4 movies.libsyn.com, and you can find us there in all podcast platforms. Of course, I'll be posting this on Instagram, and I'll shout you out. Make sure people follow you.
I'll definitely do the same for you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. See you next time. Bye.